say goodbye here on a Friday. Brooklyn Nets guard Kyrie Irving has been fined $50,000 for violating the league's health and safety protocols. The violation occurred when he attended a private indoor party last weekend. Irving will forfeit salary for any games he misses due to his 5-day quarantine period, which will allow him to return to team activities tomorrow if he continues to test negative. He is expected to play against the Magic. So, guys, we should potentially see the big three there in Brooklyn for the first time tomorrow. What do you expect, Stephen A?
I don't know what to expect, to be honest with you. I mean, first of all, it's not what we see now this weekend. It's what we're going to see in the weeks to come. James Harden has been out of shape, so he's got to get himself in shape. And Kyrie Irving has been out for whatever reason, and now he's expected to come back. So James Harden's got to get his body together. Kyrie Irving has to get his mind together. Once that happens, then you see the big three on the court, and then you judge them as the big three. Right now, they're just individuals that are playing together. They're not necessarily a team. The only person that's been a consistent model of a teammate has been Kevin Durant at this particular moment in time. I believe in Harden, what have you, but he was just trying to get himself out of there, and we understand all of that. He doesn't engage in load management. He gives it to you. In the case of Kyrie Irving, those 5 games, Kyrie Irving in the 72-game season this year, guys, is getting paid $464,000 per game. So him being out or being penalized for these 5 games without pay is going to cost him in excess of $2.3 million. I hope it was worth it for him.
First, let me say, I hope Kyrie's personal life is in order. I hope he's okay. His loved ones are okay. If he's taking personal time and it's costing him millions of dollars, I hope he's okay.
I hope he's okay.
Genuinely. That's number one. Number two, guys, if these guys can get their egos on the same page, KD, James Harden, and Kyrie can all score at every level. At an elite level, at every level, long range. Harden doesn't shoot the mid-range, but certainly they can score mid-range and in the paint. And then you add Joe Harris, who's a better shooter than any of those guys. Like, that starting 5 is impossible. And I'm just looking forward to watch. I just want to see it. I hope Max, they can get on the same page because I want to see it.
Max, you know what I forgot about? You know what we both forgot to mention? Harden is going back to join Mike D'Antoni, who's Steve Nash's lead assistant. Totally forgot.
That's right.
Totally forgot. I didn't even think about that until last night. He's back with Mike D'Antoni.
Interesting.
Loved playing for Mike D'Antoni.
They're going to score some points, Stephen A.
They're going to score some points. Nobody's going to stop them from scoring. They're going to score some points.
No question.
They should be the number 1 offense in the NBA easily. Number 1, number 2 easily.
Yeah, starting unit's got to be number 1.
See?
Did you see it? Did you see the news? James Harden is in Brooklyn. Does that mean the Brooklyn Nets are going to the NBA Finals? We'll discuss all of that because obviously Kyrie Irving's going to have something to do with that. We'll discuss that as well. And by the way, there is an NFL playoff division around this weekend. It includes Patrick Mahomes. How can we talk football and not talk about the homie? All that and more coming up. First takes in the house. Let's go.
We're just not good enough. We're not even close, honestly.
For us to be on the receiving end of the disrespectful comments and antics is completely unfair to us.
When you have certain guys in the mix that don't want to buy in all as one, it's going to be hard to do anything good as a basketball team.
I love this city. I literally have done everything that I can. The situation is something that I don't think can be fixed.
Breaking news tonight. James Harden has been traded.
He gets his wish in every way. The trade to the Brooklyn Nets in a blockbuster deal that's going to have ripple effects throughout the NBA.
James Harden is a Brooklyn Net reunited, and it feels so good. That's with KD. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to First Take. Thank you for hanging with us for just a bit. Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman. I'm Molly Karen Rose. Fellas, let's get it. And we start by hearing from one, Kevin Durant.
Losing teammates in Karis and Jarrett and Torian, but also welcoming in, a teammate in James Harden.
I heard that's not even finalized yet, so I'll talk about it another time.
I know you don't want to get into things until they are official, but looking into the past, what was it like to play with James? What do you remember about him as a teammate? Because you have played together.
It was fun.
Sure was fun. Take two. All right, here's the breakdown of the whole trade, fellas. Harden lands with the Nets, obviously. The Rockets get a package including Victor Oladipo, 4 first-round picks, and 4 first-round swaps. Indiana gets Karis LeVert, while Cleveland gets Jared Allen and Taurean Prince. Max Kellerman, you are up first. What were your first thoughts when you heard this went down?
So many. First, the Nets have to make the finals. They have to make the finals. Let's just assume for a second that Kyrie is on the team and will play for the Nets at some point this season. This is the only big three in the NBA. I don't mean they're 2 great players and here's their 3rd best player. I mean big three. And whenever we've seen a big three, they at least make the finals. Celtics put together Pierce and Garnett and Ray Allen. They won. Even when Miami failed, they failed in the finals when they had LeBron and Wade and Bosh. There's no other big three. 2 MVPs who are still at MVP level and a 3rd guy in Kyrie Irving who's more than just an all-star. He has MVP talent and achieves that all-star plus production. You have those 3 guys, you're supposed to get to the finals at least. And they had to make the deal. You know, earlier I said, no, you don't trade for James Harden, don't mess this up. But then Dinwiddie was lost for the season. So in fact, kind of counterintuitively, as you lost some depth, as the Nets lost depth and another ball handler in the backcourt, they actually had to lose more depth in order to get high-end talent to compensate. But they did lose depth. They lost Allen. They lost LeVert. And Houston got a haul. 4 firsts and 4 swaps. That's an amazing haul considering the leverage that Brooklyn had, because Harden was out of there. And this is what I mean when I say superstars, Stephen A. in the league, have all the leverage. What do I mean by that? Well, they can sign where they want when their deal is up, LeBron, KD, whomever, right? And they go from team to team. But because of that, guys like AD, say whatever you want about how long it took. AD wanted to go to the Lakers. Where did he wind up? The Lakers. Say whatever you want to say about Harden and the ups and downs. He said he wanted to go to Brooklyn. Where did he wind up? Brooklyn. Let this be a lesson to the owners in case they didn't already understand. If you have a superstar, an MVP caliber player, he's going to wind up where he says he wants to go anyway. Make the best deal you can. Now, finally, Stephen A., they have their work cut out for them. Not only is this not a good defensive team right now, but they're not adding a guy who's like a stalwart defender, you know, in the first place. And James Harden, though his defense till this year, we'll throw this out, has improved through the years. And also, there's only one ball. And while KD is a super great player, with or without the ball, doesn't matter, James Harden and Kyrie Irving both really need and want and like that ball. So they have their work cut out for them. But this team is finals or bust this year.
Well, definitely finals or bust. We agree there. But what I would tell you is, as it pertains to what was on my mind when the deal was first announced, never has James Harden been under more pressure than he is this year. The same could be said for Kyrie Irving, whose career I believe is on the line. You have people looking at him and wondering whether he's worth the trouble. We know what an ultra-talented person he is. He's a superstar talent. We get all of that. But guess what? Right now, he can't play better than me. You know why, Max? Because both of us are not on the court. He's somewhere else other than the Barclays Center, on the road with his team. I'm on television. He ain't doing anything on the court that I ain't doing, because neither one of us are there. Think about that and put that in its proper perspective. It does not matter how great you are if you don't put your greatness on display, and you don't appreciate your greatness to the point where you don't showcase it in the fashion that he is supposed to. In the case of James Harden, this is the deal. You in Houston, you wanted Dwight Howard, then you didn't. You wanted CP3, then you didn't. You wanted Russell Westbrook, then you didn't mind y'all parting ways, even though y'all are still boys. In the end, because Daryl Morey and Mike D'Antoni ended up going too, you decided that you wanted out. Fair enough. But since you arrived in Houston and since you've averaged 25 a game every season in your career in Houston, 30 over the last 3 years, 29 over the last 4 minimum, 28 over the last 5 minimum. Now you're playing with a dude who's better than you in Kevin Durant, who's a flat-out superstar in this game. Fresh off an Achilles tear, 18 months out of action, first 8 games playing this season, averaging 29 a game on 54% shooting. There is no excuse for the Brooklyn Nets not to make it to the NBA Finals. And the likelihood is that if we look at them and they don't make it, it'll be because Harden didn't show up, figuratively, or Kyrie didn't show up, possibly literally. And so as a result of that, I thought about the pressure that these two have on their shoulders because Kevin Durant is leading the pack. Not only is he a superstar, he is one of the most unselfish superstars we've ever witnessed on the basketball court. This dude was averaging 28 a game, shooting 17 shots a game. Kyrie was averaging 26 and shooting 20 a game. So think about that for a second here. And if somebody's going to sacrifice, who's going to sacrifice and make sure that Kevin Durant doesn't have to sacrifice any more than he already